listeners and readers of AwardsWatch.com. This is the Awards Watch Podcast, episode 295. I'm your executive editor, Ryan McQuade, and joining me today, oh my God, is that a bird? Is it a plane? Nope. It's just our editor-in-chief, Erik Anderson.
That's me.
And Griffin Schiller.
Yo, what's going on?
We are here to talk about the big release of the weekend of the summer.
Probably.
One of the releases of the summer.
Yeah, I'd say it's one of the biggest.
James Gunn's Superman. And we are going to have this, of course, episode is brought to you by Warner Brothers, who paid us to do this. The check is fucking clearing right now. Just going to say this up front. None of that's real. If it were, we'd all live in mansions. All right. Because I would give everything a positive take. And everybody that listens to this show knows I hate shit. Erik hates shit. Griffin hates shit. We all hate shit. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to, and we love movies, but we also hate some stuff. We're not going to hold back just for some dollars. Though, I mean, if we got those checks, wouldn't be a bad thing, you know?
Where's the lie? Where's the lie?
We're here to talk about Superman. I'm curious not from Griffin's perspective, because he's wearing a Superman shirt, so like I already know where that's going.
No. Let me point this out. I did wear this just specifically because we were doing this. I'm not like the biggest Superman fan. I don't.
Well, that's
think
what I was going to ask, Griffin.
Not
was it's like your relationship with Superman in general as a property? And I was teasing you because you're wearing the shirt as a joke. I know that, but since you're going to jump the gun.
Well, of course.
Then you might as well go ahead and talk about your relationship with Superman as a property, but then also James Gunn as a director.
I was never a big Superman fan growing up. I didn't really read a whole lot of the comics. I didn't. I always just found him kind of like boring. I think like most people, well, maybe not most people, but like I feel like a lot of people that I grew up around, like we gravitated towards like the Spider-Man or like Batman or I was a weirdo who like gravitated towards Daredevil, probably because I grew up Catholic. So there was like some sort of, Catholic guilt element in there that I found interesting.
Cool.
But
religion.
Sure. Yeah. So I really did not become a fan of Superman until Man of Steel. And that's also because I happen to really dig, Zack Snyder's visual style. I also really like the writing style of David Goyer and how he tried to take what he did with Batman Begins and work it into a Superman origin film. And so like that for me was the first time that I really like fell in love with the character and like kind of I got him, which is funny because it's so not the prototypical Superman story. And while I still really love Man of Steel for everything that it is, it's like when you think of Superman, it's not necessarily that. And I think that movie is a perfect encapsulation of Superman at that point in time, and an unwillingness to embrace kind of the more wholesome elements that make the character who he is. And I didn't even really I think the first time I watched the Richard Donner film was much later in life as well. I just, for whatever reason, never really felt the desire to go back and watch it. I mean, I'd seen enough clips. I obviously Christopher Reeve is like the gold standard for Superman actors, and like his performance in that film is remarkable, but I for whatever reason that film kind of eluded me until much later. And so so it's only been like, over the past like 15 years or so or
the Snyderverse.
Right. Well, I would say Snyderverse, and then just becoming more receptive to who Superman is as a character. I think just as like time has gone on and like the state of the world is what it is, and like being like, you know what, sometimes you just need a big blue Boy Scout, right? Like sometimes you need someone like that to just like really make you feel good. So
Griff, did you like Superman Returns? Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I didn't really. I like the elements of it. It's a weird, just kind of movie that didn't really do it for me. It was like in that weird era where it was like kind of trying to be grounded post 9/11, but it was also attached to like, the Reeves films. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, oh, that's I don't know. There are parts of it that are fun. I think Brandon Routh is a fine Superman, but
how about the portrayal of Lex Luthor? You a fan?
You mean Kevin Spacey's Gene Hackman impression?
There it is.
Sure. Yeah. There are parts of that performance that are fun to watch. But it's also Kevin Spacey, so
yeah,
take that as you will. But as for the James Gunn side of things, I mean, I've liked basically everything that he's ever made. I think he's one of the more interesting mainstream filmmakers working today, and he seems to have a very keen understanding of adapting comic books, understanding the visuals in a way that are he makes films pop in a way that makes you feel like you're reading a comic book for the first time, and yet he never ignores the human element of those stories that we latch onto. He never ignores the characters, the relationships. I think he just gets people, specifically like these characters down to their core, and it makes for some of the more emotional tentpole films being made today, on top of the fact that he's just such a singular voice as a filmmaker, for better or worse, right? Like there's things that he does that I don't think always work. Like I think his humor can be hit or miss, but then there's like a lot of really cool shit that he does with the camera, and it's like every sequence. I mean, this goes for Superman, but just in all of his films, I think every sequence you can point to and you could be like, oh wow, you thought this through as like a moment where you wanted to convey something very specific, and like each shot that you're going through in this is like very handcrafted in order to make me feel a certain way. And I've always admired that about him, is like, even when he's at like the peak of popularity, the peak of like budgets and everything like that, he is still approaching filmmaking in the same way that he did when he was like making stuff like Slither in the Troma films. Like there's just I think that's sorely missing, especially in blockbuster filmmaking today, but definitely in superhero films. And so I really like James Gunn. I've liked all of his movies. So
Erik, April 18th, 1938, when you were a spry little kid and you went to the comic book store and got the first issue of Superman, what was that like?
Oh, I should have anticipated this. I don't know why I was thinking naively that there would not be an age joke. But here we are.
Still not answering the question.
Well, because my answer is I never read comic books. I was not a comic book kid, and so
Erik doesn't know how to
introduction.
read.
I'm not Leah Michelle over here.
Well,
my introduction to Superman was the first movie. It was not the comic book. So I
did you see that in theaters when it came out?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That was
PG. That was
1942. Oh no, I'm just kidding.
1978.
What was that like? That experience of seeing it in the theater and everything? Because it was one of the first superhero films ever on the big screen. And
yeah, it was really the first and biggest of its kind.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a weird time.
But
yeah, it was a weird time. Like Griffin, I grew up very religious, so a lot of things that I saw were kind of cloaked in how they were seen by the religion. So a lot of things I wasn't even able to see, but it was pretty straightforward and very American. So yeah, it was enough to be like, yes, you guys can go see this. But little did they know that I am like 7 years old and going, I have the hots for this leotard cape wearing guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's just one of those moments from there where it was just such a weird thing.
So Erik, you're saying that Christopher Reeve.
Can I talk?
I just want a follow-up question while you're doing this, Your Honor.
While I'm speaking,
is that Christopher Reeves in Superman was an important person for you growing up?
It's just Reeve. It's not Reeves.
Or Reeve.
But
yeah.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
A
didn't
very
know.
important person.
I didn't know that about you. That's
Yeah,
This is why
absolutely.
we pod. So okay, but anyway, continue.
I mean, Superman is a obviously very intentional uh American male masculine Christ figure. That is the whole thing. Obviously from a extremely white perspective, but he was like a benchmark in all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's you can't escape it. I couldn't escape it at the time. But no, I loved it. I loved because there's so much. It's all California and San Francisco and Golden Gate Bridge and all of these things and earthquakes, and I mean it felt very like like in my backyard kind of stuff. So yeah, I loved it. I love them. Yeah, I love the original Superman. I really like parts or most of the iterations of Superman that
I've come
came
since
after that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually a really big fan of Superman Returns.
Yeah. You're a big Dean Cain guy.
No, I never watched that. I didn't watch the TV.
That's surprising, actually.
Or anything animated, actually, either.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
I think mostly the animated stuff that I watched, I mean, Griffin knows this, is that the Batman animated series in the 90s was such a big thing for our generation.
Yes.
I didn't not necessarily the sort of the same extent, I would say, for Superman.
You didn't watch Superman the animated series? That show was actually like low key very, very good. I don't think it ever reached the highs of like the Batman animated series, but it was a very good companion show to that one. And I watched a little bit of that. But like you, it was like Batman Beyond, and then like Justice League Unlimited. Like I was all into that. That stuff was I loved those shows.
So I saw the original refilms when I was younger, and I think the first one's really fun. I think the second one is superior. I think it is one of the great comic book movies of all time. Either cut, however you want to watch it.
That is correct.
And then I think the third and the fourth are massive drop-offs that then sort of ruin the property. I mean, The Quest for Peace is one of the worst movies ever made, let alone one of the worst superhero movies of all time. Superman Returns is an interesting thing, obviously with Eric's guy, Bryan Singer, at the helm. And it's
he was a great director.
It was a smart, I mean, it was the right choice at the time.
Sorry about it. And Spacey's a great Lex Luthor, so sorry about it.
Parker Posey's great in it too. I will say that it was an interesting test at the time to do a movie like that. That's such an interesting thing to do, which is like, we're going to continue something that's already the ongoing story. So we're going to replicate the feeling of nostalgia that way, but we're going to continue it and do it with modern effects in a modern way. And honestly, there's things in that movie I like. I do think Brandon Routh's actually pretty good. There's some stuff I don't like the sort of like lineage and some of the stuff in the third act is a little silly. The Snyder films, this is where Griffin and I are going to disagree. And see, this is where I'm not bought by Warner Brothers. I think are massively inconsistent films, but that are destroyed by someone's misunderstanding of a property, a studio wanting to chase after another studio for cinematic success, and just, I mean, absolutely unmemorable character work by actors that I think are really good. Like, I think Henry Cavill he looks the part, but I don't think particularly he adds anything special to the role because he's not given material to shine. I think Man of Steel is kind of a boring film. I think Batman, Superman, Dawn of Justice is literal garbage. The Justice League movie itself, the original cut, is bad. The Snyder cut, which I have seen, is better, but it's still you're polishing a turd to make a shiny turd. And there's interesting stuff in there, but it has nothing really to honestly do with Superman. It's just really still a Batman vehicle, which I do think Snyder just wanted to make a Batman movie. Like, as we all want to do. We all want to be Batman. Like, there's no question about that. But he's the cooler superhero. He is than Superman. But it's tough. So it's tough to really.
He's a billionaire with dead parents, I think, is what you're saying. Everybody wants that.
Yeah, and Superman's a poor kid with dead parents. Okay, so like, you know.
No, they are not dead.
They're not dead.
They're
not dead at all.
His real parents are dead.
Well,
put some respect on Bradley Cooper's name.
So, yeah. But for me, and Reeve is so iconic. It's been really hard. Like, we have other Batmans, other superheroes in certain iterations of characters that were like, okay, like that's our eras of this and our era of that. Reeve is so much dominated as a figure over this character. And it's tough because since those original ones, I wouldn't say there's been a great Superman movie. And it's tough to kind of do because it's a little bit like Griffin, it's a little bit like the James Bond problem. He's such an iconic character of a time. You have to obviously move him into modern times, a modern context. Audience then embrace certain aspects of it. They don't with others. A lot of audiences didn't like Snyder's take. Obviously, a lot of audience didn't like what Superman Returns was doing. And then you have James Gunn, which audiences and fans of superhero comic books love. And from at least his Guardians films, there's a little bit more divisive on his Suicide Squad film, but a lot of people love that film and love his sensibilities as a modern filmmaker with Blockbuster Entertainment. He is now the CEO of the new DC universe, and this is their launching point. This is their big step into making another attempt at a cinematic universe in a world right now, which is very interesting, where cinematic universes aren't really the thing that are hitting anymore. It almost feels like the idea of making a new cinematic universe is a bad thing, because the biggest cinematic universe right now is struggling in Marvel. Yeah. And yet they're full steam ahead because they have this canon of characters, and this is their first one. It's with David Corenswet. It's with Nicholas Hoult, Rachel Brosnahan, great supporting cast surrounding them, lots of characters, lots of things to do in this movie to introduce a new world, introduce a new version of Superman with all of James Gunn's sensibilities wrapped up in it. So Griffin Schiller, I think you have seen this film twice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I've seen it twice. Yeah.
And so your thoughts on it, buddy?
Yeah, I really, really, really like this film. I think the first time I saw it, my big thing was that I think it takes a bit to get on its wavelength. I think it can be a bit disorienting because you're being dropped into a world already in progress. There are characters whose relationships are like a thing. Like, for instance, when the Justice Gang shows up and they already have a relationship with Superman and they have a rapport with him, you feel a little bit at arm's length, and so you're trying to get situated to what's going on there. I mean, obviously the movie starts with Superman like losing a battle and then having to go back to the battle that he was just fighting. There's like a international conflict going on. Lex Luthor is like basically introduced in the middle of an action scene. And so like there's stuff, like, it's really cool because it does evoke the feeling of picking up a comic book and diving into a story in progress, like a run in the middle of it. And so I think, just like, if you've ever done that, if you picked up a single issue because you thought it looked cool and you started reading into it, there is some acclimating that has to happen. And like, yeah, comics and films are different mediums, but knowing James Gunn and knowing how he wants to bring the feeling of reading a comic book to the big screen like that, I really admired that approach. And I have to say, it is a film that benefits from repeat viewings, because a lot of that, orientation, a lot of like getting used to these characters, their relationships, the world at large, like you feel more at home once you've already seen it and you have a general idea of things, so that you can go back in and you're able to experience it with the knowledge of like how these people interact and the history that they have, and so I think that's really cool. Because I don't know how many movies really benefit from that sort of that repeat viewing, at least in terms of the setup and whatnot. But I think while like I'm not sure if it's my favorite Superman movie, I still have to sort that out. I mean, it's pretty damn close, but I think it is in a lot of ways the Superman film so many of us have been wanting our entire lives. Like it is fully embracing the comic booky sci-fi weirdness of this character, because I think like where Batman is like kind of like a pulpy crime noir protagonist, Superman is a sci-fi hero. Like that, like his whole world, his whole being, everything is like so entrenched in sci-fi. And if you read any of the comics or you watch it in the animated shows, it is just a full embracement of that. And I don't feel like we've ever really done that to the fullest extent in the films per se. I mean, yeah, maybe in the Snyder films a little bit, but again, those were already divisive for various reasons. And so I don't think people were really able to appreciate it to the fullest. But like with this, I mean, you've got kaijus, you've got like black holes, you've got these like rainbow rivers and stuff. It is just like, it's a film that is like so alive and like bursting with life. And yeah, I mean, it is embracing the roots that it comes from. On top of that, it also, I mean, we talked about the animated shows. I think this movie takes a lot of pages out of like specifically the Justice League Unlimited series, which I think if you grew up watching those shows, you're going to feel so at home here, not just in terms of the world and how it's kind of presented, but the characters and their dynamics. And it's a lot of fun. And I think beyond the aesthetics and like the tone and everything, it is a movie that understands these characters and who they are down to their very, very core. Like it gets the soul of Superman arguably better than any Superman film out there. I mean, yeah, you could argue maybe the Donner film is the exception, but I really do feel like James Gunn gets who Clark Kent is and what he's kind of struggling with in terms of his identity. His relationship with Lois Lane is like single-handedly the best comic book movie relationship I've seen since like Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst, because it is so honest, it's so authentic. There's like, it feels like two real people who have a connection and are trying to get over their issues. I mean, the thing with Lois and Clark is that it's like a golden retriever and a black cat, and you try and figure out how that dynamic is going to work. And I think James Gunn just completely fucking nails that. Lex Luthor, I mean, he's pulling from like the Smallville series with Michael Rosenbaum's portrayal. He's pulling from, again, Justice League Unlimited and stuff. It's so that character he's so vain, he's so envious, and like Hoult like devours all of that. It's so much fun to watch him just be this petty little man. And yeah, and like the supporting characters are great. I mean, I think a lot of people are like, oh, this film feels like really overcrowded. There's like a lot of people in here. There's a lot of moving pieces. But when you sit down to watch it, I mean, if the Justice Gang were like just regular side characters and it wasn't like Guy Gardner or Hawk Girl or Mr. Terrific or stuff like that, if they were just regular characters, I don't think people would be so inclined to think that the movie feels overstuffed with characters. But because they are named characters, people are a little concerned, and it feels like, oh, there's too many heroes going on in there. But I think if you look at the Justice Gang at large and what they represent in the film, they really work. And Mr. Terrific is like specifically, I mean, a character that a lot of people have a lot of affinity for, someone who I think people have wanted to see get a big screen treatment like this. I mean, he walks away being one of the best parts of the entire film. He has incredible sequences. And I mean, that's not even getting into like the shockingly like on the pulse allegories that are being made here in a way that I was surprised to see, but also I was just like, fuck yeah, this is really cool that a movie, like arguably the biggest movie of the year, is making very direct and strong statements about global events that are going on. Like it is engaging with our world in such a passionate way. And I think the reason it's able to do so, and it's able to do so so effectively, is because it doesn't take place in our world. That's DC's greatest strength, is the fact that it is another reality other than our own. We have places like Metropolis, Gotham, and Central City, Central City or stuff like that, where the Flash is, and they vaguely resemble places that we know in our real world, but it's not a one-to-one. And so you're able to just engage with this world as it is, and have stuff presented to you in a way where, like, it's an allegory. It's like it's commenting on events that are happening in our world, but it's not being explicit, but it's also like entrenched in the visuals or the iconography, I guess, of stuff going on. And so that's something that Marvel can't do, because Marvel is set in our world. So I thought it was really refreshing and bold to see that. And yeah, I mean, it's a very hopeful and uplifting movie. It's sincere in an age where, like, sincerity is kind of like scoffed at. And I really appreciated that. Like, it's silly. It's I mean, I could go on. Like, there's so many different elements I'm sure we'll get into specifically, but I really, really was endeared to this movie in a way that I wasn't expecting, but in a way that I perhaps should have, knowing that James Gunn was at the helm, and that he always is a filmmaker who goes in with his heart on his sleeve, and he leaves it all out there. So yeah, I really had a great time with this. It's a great movie.
Erik, where are you? What's your relationship with James Gunn and his films, and how he approaches the comic book films?
I signed an NDA, so I can't really talk about that.
No, that's true. No, I mean, because you've seen all the Guardians films, I assume, and you saw the Suicide Squad, right? Correct? And so
I did, yeah.
And I know you were just the biggest fan of the Snyderverse. You're like the number one guy out there, right?
That's what people know me as. Yeah.
No, Snyderverse. I know that you don't like those films, correct? You think that they're bad.
I don't have.
You don't want people coming after you, though, right?
Oh, I don't give a fuck about that. I just don't really have a blanket, like.
Do you remember seeing? Do you remember seeing Man of Steel?
Guardians. Yeah.
Did you like it?
It's fine.
Batman versus Superman.
No, I don't like that. And the Justice League. I don't like.
Did you ever watch the Snyder Cut?
Why would I do that?
I don't know.
No, I have not. No.
I'm just asking.
I have not. But right. It's funny just listening to the conversation and thinking about the mentions of Batman and James Bond, both of which have been played by multiple actors with some semblance of looking different.
Yes.
And not Superman does not, every time we have seen him, it's a very limited viewpoint of Superman. Nobody's really willing to go outside of the blue eyes and the pale skin and the hair. I mean, Cavill is kind of the closest to be a little bit outside of that.
Yeah.
In a way that Reeve and Routh and Corenswet they look like production models that all kind of came out at the same,
like an assembly line
factory.
Yeah.
Which is fine. There's a certain element of lore and things that you want to stay true to. And I think that's also too the reason why people can gravitate to it. But I also think that it's something that becomes its worst crutch too, where it's really just a matter of getting an actor that sort of embodies it, and anything around that will just sort of fall into place and it's okay.
Yeah.
So like with the new Superman, I liked it. There's maybe more things I didn't like than I liked. I mean, after all, James Gunn did write Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2. So we're not probably expecting uh uh much more than that. And I know some people feel like it's a well-written film and that the relationships are well written. I don't really think so. I did like dropping into it with having to come with the knowledge and lore of Superman that was not a complicated level of it, but still very introductory. I think the opening, the 3 years, 3 weeks, 3 hours, 3 minutes thing was fantastic. I really
Yeah,
loved that.
that was a lot of
Um,
fun.
but I was not a fan of Brosnahan's Lois Lane.
Wow.
Um,
Interesting.
She might have been my favorite
less
part.
easily not my favorite part. Not her performance, but just
Usage.
I think it's a poorly written Lois Lane.
I mean,
I don't think anyone will match Margot Kidder.
no, and I think, but compared to Amy Adams,
and her Amy Adams,
is
I
be-
love. Terrible Lois Lane.
yeah,
The frenetic nature of Kidder's Lane was so cool, and she was so struck the right balance of, and this is 78. This is women literally just beginning to be able to have autonomy and a fucking job. And she felt like that. She felt like an absolute, like, here is the crossroads of women's lib, but also, yeah, I'm going to fall for the 6'4", milky skinned, blue-eyed, black-haired Adonis. It was such a great period of time too for a Lois Lane Superman story. And she got to smoke. What's Lois Lane's vice in this is sugar. Oh my god. I was that was like the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It was I didn't like it.
Does that allude to the fact that perhaps she did smoke previously and had to give it up, and so that she's now,
that at least maybe say that.
I don't know.
I watched an interview, and Brosnahan mentions that they couldn't even do smoking. They weren't even allowed to have that be the vice. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's already like the wrong hands, in the pot.
Mhm.
I do like Corenswet. I think he is emotionally a very good Superman. I think the phenomenal lack of Clark Kent in this, though, is a mistake. And that's sort of, I'm sort of torn in there, where I say I like that we got dropped into it at this time, but then you are really missing a really big part of why this dual personality is so interesting. But I do think the supporting cast is a lot of fun. Most definitely, and I'm going, I don't want to butcher his name. Edie Gathegi. Is that right?
Yeah.
I hope. Mr.
Yeah.
Terrific. By far the best part of the film. He has the best action sequence, the best set piece. He is an absolute A+. I loved him.
Yeah.
I like Hoult's Lex Luthor. I liked how they combined, his initial obsession with real estate being literal countries instead of just, California or, pieces of Metropolis. So that was a great next level usage of Luthor as a character. I love Skylar Cassando. He's super cute, funny Jimmy Olsen. Although, I don't know, I feel like they didn't really know what to do with him and didn't want to do anything traditional with him because he's, I guess, junior reporter, but I don't know. It was
Jimmy's like kind of a bit of a playboy though in the comic. He's kind of a ladies' man, and I feel like they finally.
Well, that's what they did
him.
With this.
Yeah, exactly. They're like he fucks canonically, and I was like, yeah, let's go. This is Jimmy. Like, I totally agree. I thought he was really fun as a character in the subplot with Eve. I thought was like that. Those were the best comedic bits, I think, to me.
Yeah, but the whole thing of him not wanting to fuck her, was really, really funny.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny. I'm like, oh, cool. Are we getting a gay Jimmy? Let's do it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did think about that for a second. Yeah.
Okay, so, I'm very conflicted on this film because I think I'm a little bit in Erik's camp. I'm probably a little bit more positive on him, though I'm not as glowing as Griffin. I think this movie is a lot of fun.
You're the porridge that Goldilocks ate.
Exactly. I'm like just right. You know what I mean? Where I think this movie has a lot of fun moments in it. I think Corenswet is incredible. I think that this is easily the best Superman we've had since Reeve. It's not even a question.
Like as an actor, or
as an actor, embodiment, performance, conflict, all of it.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Nicholas Hoult steals this movie. I think he's incredible. Makes his own case as to why he could have been Superman as well too, because he auditioned for it. I think his Lex Luthor's great. I think the dynamic between the two of them is great. I think he's the best Lex Luthor we've had since Gene Hackman, who is the best Lex Luthor, period, and one of the great villains of all time. I think Brosnahan has great chemistry with Corenswet. And I think their scenes, while limited together, are great. I just wish there was more, because it felt like that movie was spent a lot of time with them separated because of what the story gives us. But when they're together, they are the right choice. This was casting perfection, in my opinion. And those three have been on the trail, and they have been promoting this movie like crazy, and rightfully so, because they are perfect casts. And all the supporting characters, they do a great job surrounding them with context of this world that I agree with Erik and I agree with you, Griffin. Dropping us into this world was the right move. Another origin story, Pearl's, Batman getting, his parents getting shot and Uncle Ben dying and the destruction of Krypton. I don't want to see it. Like James Gunn has said, I don't want to see it. And to be fair, I don't want to see it. I'm tired of it.
Well, yeah, not enough time has passed. It's not a generational thing, so you don't need to have an origin story anymore.
No, but this is an entirely, yes, he could have done that, because this is a whole new thing and a whole new
origin stories.
I like them too, but they can be very formulaic and of what we've seen before. And bringing your knowledge of this character in is essentially what you're doing with Marvel, or you're doing with any other comic book at this point. Like Batman, yes, we've had origin stories, but at a certain point, it's like Matt Reeves decided not to do that with the Batman that just came out with Robert Pattinson. He's like, he's already Batman. I don't need to figure out how this emo kid became Batman. He's Batman. Yeah. Let's just go into it and let's just do it, because the conflict can be really
the most emo Batman ever.
And he's fantastic in that film.
He is really good, but I'm just like, something in the way, really?
It's like, really? Just lighten up a little bit, buddy. But
I like that.
I think the problem, though, with this is like, this is a lot of fun, but it felt very like empty calories. It felt like it felt like cereal for dinner. That's what it felt like.
What's wrong with that?
Is that it's ultimately unfulfilling.
Are you anti breakfast for dinner?
No, I'm anti cereal for dinner. Like, you can scramble an egg or something, for Christ's sake.
I don't know.
But I think that there's just so much that's being thrown. The script is all over the place. The tone is...
Be specific. What do you mean?
I think that going on an emotional ride with Clark / Superman would have been more interesting than this government conspiracy thing that goes down wormholes that aren't explained, down the river of like drudge that isn't explained in the pocket universe, and then
it's very inside out. Gang. It's very inside out for me, and I hated actually all the science fiction stuff and the fucking monsters. I was like, I don't want any of this in my Superman. That's not my Superman.
That's fair. I think that's truer to the spirit of the character, though. Like, he's a sci-fi hero, you know?
I know.
It's like, you want that kind of stuff. I guess I would push back on it not being on it not focusing on his emotional journey, because I think while there is a lot of excess going on around him that he's dealing with, I think Gunn does a really good job of maintaining focus on Clark and him really dealing with the legacy that his parents sent him there, thinking that it was for one thing, realizing it's something else, going into a bit of a spiral. And then I also think that's Gunn wisely takes our issue of adapting Superman in a modern context and our need to kind of contort the character, because we don't want him to be the straight edged, like, I'll say it again, Blue Boy Scout kind of thing. We have to make him edgier, like in other media, we have people like Omni-Man and Invincible. We have like Homelander and The Boys. We have like the Snyder version. We're like constantly trying to make the Superman figure something that he's not. And I think Clark is kind of dealing with that. Like, Clark is like, oh, I don't want to talk to my parents. Oh, I'm a punk rock kid. But it's like, even when he's like trying to do all of that stuff, it's like he cannot help but be who he is. And the whole movie is about him embracing his sense of self and his moral compass, and like understanding that, like, yes, he comes from Kryptonian heritage, but he is the person he is because it's how the Kents raised him. They were good people, and he is a good person. So much so that he was willing to give like his biological parents the benefit of the doubt without even hearing their full story. And so, I mean, he's hopelessly optimistic. He's an altruist to a fault, which is why I think his relationship with Lois is really interesting, because she'll push back on that a little bit, because she, in a lot of ways, I think, is the cynic, the realist. Like, I think she is a lot of us who are like a bit hesitant to want to express our love of someone as like straight edged as this guy. But then at the end of the day, she's like, why am I preventing myself from embracing this? It's like, we have so many other edgier heroes who have like tragic backstories, who are dealing with their own baggage and stuff. And it's like, sometimes you need a Superman who, like, I'm not saying that his life is like without trauma or whatever, like, but like, he out of all the superheroes, like, he is someone who grew up like fairly normal, and he has this great humanity within him. We need that sometimes, right? We need that nice reminder to maybe like pull us out of the darkness a little bit, to be a bit kinder and whatnot. And so I think the same way Lois learns to love Clark in this film, the audience learns to kind of like fall back in love with Superman and like everything that makes that character who he is in a lot of ways. And so, and like for Clark to love himself, I mean, going from like, oh, I am this supposed to be this protector of Earth, to then going from like, you know what, I'm human. I am a child of Earth, and I embrace the parents who raised me. I like, that's such a beautiful, just like arc for that character. So
it's a good arc. I just, like Erik said, felt like this movie focused on more of the things with Superman than it does with Clark Kent, that it does with, and this is the problem also, hang on.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine.
This is the problem with dropping into it, right in. While it's a good idea, you also have logistical problems, and then some pacing problems. The stuff with the Kents towards the beginning of the end of the second act, the early third act. I'm tired of people going to barns and houses, their origin houses, discovering who they are. That's a trope we can get rid of. And then the third act happens. Saw it in Twisters last year, saw it in this. It's the same stupid shit. And it's just, I get it. And it happens so many times. Also, the actors that play his parents, not the best performances in the film.
Oh wow!
Hey,
I love that. They felt like so authentic. That was those were fucking just Kansas people.
They were so manipulative tools. And considering the fact that we had Diane Lane and Kevin Costner playing these parents before, we've had other better actors play these characters before. They felt so wasted, and then emotionally by the end, unearned. In any of
Pruitt Taylor Vince is one of our very best. How dare you?
They're giving bad work in this, and they're not really greatly written. I think the other thing too is that this movie tries to do the thing that is not always the greatest, which is you're trying to be a Superman movie, you're trying to expand your universe at the same time, and you're trying to incorporate all those elements together. The Justice Gang, they're cool as characters, but when you really think about it, I don't know much more about them than exactly what is basic level stuff. I don't know. I mean, you're not even talking about the relationship of it a little bit. They're saying that like he's out of it, but we all are taking in that the Justice League was quasi, made by Superman in the comics and everything. And so it is the thing of wanting to make a standalone film and wanting to make a cinematic universe. And these two ideas clash so much in this film that the standalone film is good enough. But the expanded universe stuff, while there is fun stuff with it, it ultimately is like this is what you want to do with all your movies going forward, is have your central character and then a bunch of ancillary characters that are just going to add moments that take away from the core drama and the core focus and drive of the movie. And while ultimately it's a fun time, there's just, you feel the Marvelification of this, and it's such a call and response to that. And it's also because Gunn's been in that system for a while. He's trying to do his own thing. I need to see further proof of further films to come and see how this plays out. But I would have liked it if the Justice Gang doesn't exist actually in this. Or we're discovering metahumans actually in this rather than just telling us that. I think that would have been interesting. I think, I think that the callbacks at the end, or the winks at the audience at the end of this film, is just winks to more stuff like this. And while the audience in my theater reacted, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Supergirl's gonna have her own movie and it's coming after this. And it sort of deflates then the experience right before you're about to have the last tie up emotional punch of the message.
Oh, I loved that. I thought that was great.
I'm just sitting there and going God damn it. We can't have standalone things anymore. We can't have singular things anymore. And we can't have, but then also we want but people don't want multiverse, gigantic cinematic universes. So this movie kind of feels at odds with itself at its end goal. Also, the logic of Superman being around for 3 years and the logic of him just meeting Lex Luthor in that scene when he goes to his office, give me a fucking break. That's not how any of this works.
Why would he have any reason to meet Lex prior to that?
They wouldn't have probably interacted in the 3 years he's been trying to kill him.
Probably
come
not.
on now.
I mean,
there's a little bit with the journalistic story as well too, where you can pull it apart, and some of these characters, while they're supposed to be smart, they do and figure out stuff really dumb. And so, but that said, the action sequences are really good in this movie. And I actually was worried about that going into this, because because Griffin and I have talked about this. We've gone into this summer with 2 superhero movies here that are going to be out in the next couple of weeks, with Fantastic Four in this. And the looks of both of these in the trailers, I was like, oh boy, these look rough. I actually thought the action sequences in here were really clear and fun, much better than like in Man of Steel and the Snyder era, where it's just like bam and the buildings are falling, and then all it's terrible and you can't see anything with the shaky cam. Like this, actually, you can tell about stuff. But some of like the kaiju and that creature design wasn't the greatest, but I did think it
was dumb.
The final
looked like
act
Dolores
was good,
from Jurassic World like grew up. It was stupid.
It looked like though.
I didn't like it.
It looked like Roz from Monsters Inc. a little bit.
I think you're probably going to get stuck making a superhero movie that isn't informed by the absolute glut of them that we've had for the last 15 years. So I don't think there's really going to be a right way to do it in terms of, is it solely origin story or is it solely a part of the rest of this multiverse? And I do appreciate that Gunn recognized that is a rock and a hard place to be, and so kind of tries to straddle that line a bit.
But Erik, I will say that's the thing is it's fascinating to me. It's also frustrating is that I can see the dance between Gunn as the filmmaker and Gunn as the co-CEO of the DC cinematic universe and having to kick this thing off. So you see the creative side and then the bigger picture side over here too, right? Because he didn't have to think about that with Guardians. He just made his films, and Feige kind of either had to figure it out or they had a conversation. It was a two-person conversation with those films. This is solely, even though yes, he has Peter Safran, right, Griffin, to work with him for the overall expanded universe. It's mostly, we all know it's James Gunn's running this whole show. Really, he's the face of it. But he's also the one directing this stuff, writing this stuff, and it's all going to have to connect. And it's a gamble that's very interesting. But if this is what it's going to go for, I don't necessarily know if it's going to work for 5, 6, 7, 8 films. I don't know if that's how it's going to work. I don't know if it works in one film all the way. It's an interesting thing to see someone kind of struggle to figure it out. Like you're saying, Erik, I don't know if he figures out that balance, but maybe he does once we have more time with it and we see these characters more from the next generations. Because that's what my problem was. I don't like the first Guardians of the Galaxy film, but I like 2 and 3 because we had the time to understand the tone and build with those characters and go on, emotional journeys with them, like Rocket's journey or with Star-Lord and Quill's discovery of his father in the second film. Those hit me more than the origin or the beginnings of the assembly of this group. And so maybe when Gunn does the next Superman or he has his role inside the Batman film or whatever, those will work. But for this, it feels like he's at odds with himself and fun stuff happens. Overall enjoying like a good time, but still a frustrating exercise as the building of something new.
I do appreciate that. I appreciate that outside of the one reveal that you mentioned, that there isn't these little things peppered through of cameos that are there's like.
Because he hasn't cast those people yet. He hasn't cast those people yet.
There's a certain element of that's great because then it's sort of like an isolated film, and that's always going to be the problem with any of these movies is that they are built with this outline of decades to come. So it misses the ability to be just a singular film. Any of these superhero movies do. And nothing is ever close ended. So I think that in one regard suffers in a way, but I do appreciate that, because the future of all of these characters in the same universe, which are now his universe, that he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to make sure and put whoever else is going to be there.
He didn't have to set up the next. Yeah, he didn't have to set up the next couple of films outside of the one at the end, which is literally at the end of the film. Yeah, that's fair. I do think though, when the movie's focused on, let's just make it a Superman movie and Superman versus Lex, sort of simple, basic level story there. I think the movie rocks. Like, I think the third act, them saving the city, him fighting with Lex, him fighting Ultraman, right?
Yeah.
I think the action sequences are great there. I think
hated all of it.
I think his dynamic, Corenswet with Hoult, is great. Like, I think that and also just a really nasty, vicious portrayal of Lex Luthor that I think people kind of forget about, because he's the mortal in this, but he's sort of the opposite of. He's kind of the opposite of like a Tony Stark in a lot of ways. He's not going to be. He's got all these resources. Let me take down the god, right?
Yeah, and he's just cruel. Yeah,
he's just super cruel. And I mean, the last time we saw this character on the big screen, Jesse Eisenberg nearly destroyed it. So to see Nicholas Hoult do it in such a way that would show the use of media, the use of government influence, the use of paranoia online, building up this negativity, is wonderful. And it's all from the vantage point of someone extremely petty, that they can't be this way. And that to me is very relevant. Griffin mentioned the politics of this film.
I was going to say really quick, though, no offense to Gene Hackman, Kevin Spacey, and Jesse Eisenberg, but having a Lex Luthor that is equally as attractive as Superman is awesome.
I think that helps then
that the public.
I think that helps public perception then too, of like, well, this attractive man with a bald head is on my screen, and he's telling me that Superman's actually terrible, and he's got evidence.
That's like line at the end. Take Baldy downtown.
That's rude. It's great. Well, it also paves the way for when they eventually do like he like runs for president, because that's like the storyline that I feel like they'll build to. They'll do the president Lex Luthor, and it's like you can already see how that's like feels relevant. To
very much so. But
it's like bolded, underlined, italicized.
4th of July celebration in the background. You know what I mean? I guess that's how they're foreshadowing to that. But I do give Gunn credit here. Is while he's setting up his universe and doing all these usual comic book stuff, and he's got this relationship film, and he's got Clark having to come to terms with social media, and
all of that was great.
And I mean, because
the monkeys were great. It was like the Russian bots, or like the Elon Musk, like when he put the chips in the monkey's head, like that.
I mean, Griffin, it was like, Erik won't know what this statement means, but it's like when you hear modern basketball players talk about how it's so much more difficult now playing than it was when you were like Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson, because they didn't have to deal with social media, and how they have to. And so when I was
Sarah Jessica Parker just said that about Sex in the City, so I understand that reference.
There you go, buddy.
I just have to make it gay.
She's FDR didn't have to deal with social media. What a fucking deranged.
He won an election,
but no, is that the core of this movie is and it was so funny going into my screening, Erik, at I think the same time you were screening, of people on the right getting so upset about what it is true about Superman, that it is an immigrant story. It's about finding oneself within this country, but then in the world, and what you can do as a person and as a human when a human being for Clark, but just as a decent, kind person and leaving the world better than when she found it. It is funny how angry people got about that. And then you watch the movie and it's like an Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine allegory. And it's like, no, actually that's great. Yeah. And because that would make it honestly even more modern for Superman to have to deal with those things. And Snyder kind of hinted at it a little bit in his film. I think he meant, or more so in like Batman versus Superman. There's like a sequence when he goes to a country and saves it, but it's like a blink and you miss it sort of sequence. This is propelling the narrative.
An entire subplot. It's the whole existence of Lex Luthor.
It's literally in the title credits, in the opening title. So it is pushing that forward. And from that, I would say, back to your point, Griffin, that is something that Marvel can't do. Which is they can be an allegory for our time. They have never, ever, 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 maybe outside of some of the stuff in in the original Black Panther, but other than that, they've rarely used those events in those films, the big events, to comment on the modern era and what's going on.
I would argue the only two films that really managed to do so, funnily one of them just came out, was The Avengers and Thunderbolts, and they're both like reflections on America post 9/11. I think like Avengers is like 9/11 very much, and then I think the Thunderbolts is like this. It's like the millennial ennui that we've kind of like grown up with in like the, not to be pretentious.
No, I know.
You know what I'm saying.
I just never heard you say the word ennui before. It was enlightening to me.
Well, there you
for half
go.
a second, I was like, wow. Look at Griffin pulling out the dictionary. Was that on the calendar today, Griffin? And you pulled that off? I gotta use ennui in the conversation today.
No. But the way that those two films are kind of commenting on America, I think post 9/11 is very interesting. But to your point, it is like the movies aren't really like about that.
No.
It's like kind of like the subtext of that you can read into it. This movie is like directly about, like Superman fucking fights off ICE agents basically, right? Like in the whole scene where he's like doing the laser vision, like that's fucking great. The Israel Palestine thing, I think was brilliant about the Yarnpor and like Moravia kind of conflict there is like, it's very clear that like when James Gunn wrote that, it was about Russia and Ukraine. But then it turned. But there's like the country that is being invaded is very like Palestine coded. And so like he was able, and then also the fact that Moravia is like one of America's closest allies and like, also has this strong military power. It's like, I don't know when you added those lines in or if it was there all along, but like that was so tastefully
and there's
done.
No way he's going to talk about any of that because
no, he won't, and he doesn't need to because it speaks for itself. It's like it's so fucking like there, and it's so well done, which is why I've kind of struggled with people like being like, oh, congratulations, like you're just gesturing at these ideas, and it's like, no, like this is more than gesturing. Like the film is fucking about this. Like the plot of the movie is centered around this. Like name another film that is like actually talked about that conflict as directly as like this movie has, that
while it's happening,
while it's happening, right? Like indie films don't even really do that. No. Like, I mean, the only one that came to mind that I could think of was like The Brutalist, but The Brutalist is about Zionism and not necessarily that conflict. So it's like it is doing stuff that even like smaller movies are not really able to do, and it's able to do it because it's allegorical, and that is the power of allegory. And I've seen so many people just miss that, and I think that's really frustrating. It's like, I don't know.
Well, I'm not going to pin a Medal of Bravery on James Gunn's chest like anytime soon.
No, sure,
for doing it.
I think being,
but yes, it is completely direct. It is not subtext, it's text.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is for something of this size and scope and visibility. Yes, it's honorable.
I think it helps being, again, that's that other thing too, where yes, you're the director, but you're also the guy in charge. So if you want to put some of this stuff in there, that's just the dance of the movie. It's like, I get to put some interesting stuff in there because I'm in charge and because I am the only one that could get away with this shit. But then I'm also I got to put all this other shit in there to build out this thing because I made some promises at board meetings and stuff to expand this fucking universe out and make a shit ton of money. So like there's that, when he's being creative is when I find the movie interesting. When he's being Steve Jobs, then you know what I mean? Then it's like, okay, well, you're a little bit, undermining your points here. But like, if it was just about that though, then the movie's not going to make any money because then people would be an umbrage over it. But they're already going to be an umbrage over it in the first place,
right? Because the immigrant thing.
Because what do we think David Zaslav thinks of Superman?
He doesn't care as long as it makes money.
Yeah, that's exactly.
There we go.
He doesn't give a shit about any of it.
He doesn't give a shit. Yeah.
There
we go.
You could have put. I think you could put like it's not. He's not like Donna Langley. Like Donna Langley actually in Universal cares about the content that they're creating. That's also like, did it make me $1 billion? Nope. All right, moving on. Because
like a miser.
All he gives a shit about is actually his fucking money that he makes. If we're being for real.
Yeah.
And then
now he needs it because they just slashed his bennies down a little bit.
Man, if you're the creatives over,
he's in the poorhouse.
Well, now isn't it kind of crazy in the last 6 months though that like Zaslav was like, I'm gonna fire everyone and it's gonna be so bad for who were the two people in charge of making decisions over there at Warner Brothers?
Oh yeah, Michael DeLuca, who's like one of the greatest producers in
Abdi.
Like modern history.
Yeah, and then Abdi as well. And then you're like, and now they've had Minecraft, Sinners, the success of F1. It mostly falls under their shoulder for the theatrical. I'm not, Apple was the one.
They're just distributor. Yeah, that's Apple's money.
But and then this is going to make money, and if some way, if that Paul Thomas Anderson movie makes money, then.
Well, it doesn't have to now.
It doesn't have to. No,
it doesn't. You're right.
It gets to be a write-off.
Exactly. Mickey 17 gets to be a write-off.
Because nobody likes writing things off like Warner Brothers does.
It gets to be a write-off because Minecraft...
Even when your movie makes $700 million.
Because like Minecraft goes here, Mickey 17, you meet in the middle, there you go, and then that's kind of a lot.
Mickey 17. Goodness.
Yeah, what a bad movie. But it's really interesting to just see how Warner Brothers has sort of turned themselves here. And this is... one of the big films that they're going to make. This movie's going to make a ton of money this weekend.
Yeah.
Or has made a ton of money this weekend. But
it's going to do okay.
It's going to do good.
Isn't it like projected at 130 domestically?
No, it's going to do.
Weekend?
No, but I've seen more than that.
I've seen up to 200.
Yeah,
but,
I've seen up to 200.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. I think the positive word of mouth is.
It benefits for being only 2 hours and 9 minutes.
That's the other thing too.
3 hour stupid epic.
Yes, but also it could have used a little bit more just for the world.
I wanted more.
I did too. Yeah, I would agree with that.
But
I wanted less like buildings falling down and more stuff. I swear to God, if I had to watch Superman save one person or a squirrel from a falling building, which happens like 6 fucking times.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, stop it.
It does feel like that's because a bit of
there are thousands of people that died in Metropolis. You're not telling me that
nobody died in Metropolis. Nobody died?
Like Stonewall.
Like Stonewall.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy that
I do feel like
really
that's
supposed to kind of go along and say, oh, everyone just evacuated the city. Everything's cool. All these buildings that are falling down, there's nobody in there because everybody evacuated. The fuck they did.
Yeah.
Thousands of people are dead.
Exactly. Well, I mean,
they're just on their way to New Jersey now? Sure.
No, well, yeah, I mean, the movie takes place in Metropolis is in Delaware.
Yes. There's Delaware and Philadelphia. There's a lot of things in there.
Yeah. Well, her license, like Lois's license plates were Delaware, so like I think that's what they were implying in the film. But it is funny. Like I think that is. But Erik, that's also just a common thing now because
I know I just hate it so much.
Well, honestly, it is.
Bored.
It is because of.
And I love destruction.
It's because of Man of Steel, because all that stuff happened, and so many people online and the Snyder Bros and everybody. They went after Zack Snyder, like, you killed all these millions of people. Like, like when he fought Zod, that was like just 2 bombs exploding at the same time. and because of the power in which those two characters were portrayed in that film. And then in Batman,
it's meaningless. It's all the thing that
it's
that
meaningless. Yes, so that's
it's no stakes.
No,
there
but,
are no
yeah.
stakes when somebody can't be hurt, and it's just buildings falling down. There's no stakes.
No, I understand that, and so that's why it was funny that in Batman, Superman, Dawn of Justice, the main fight with Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman is like an abandoned parking lot. And because of those complaints, so that's why, like, now when they have those scenes, you know, it's not like, and Griffin knows this, in the Dark Knight when they have the ferry sequence, everywhere's blocked off, so everything feels perilous. Like everyone's trapped, and so
yes, that's how you create stakes.
Exactly, you create tension. Well, it's also because Christopher Nolan knows what he's doing, but it's also, that's a grounded story. In this, it's like, there's a literal hole being ripped in the fabric of space and time here, which I gotta say, this is my number one thing. Wormholes and stuff like that, we gotta stop. We just gotta stop. It's just like beams this is like beams in the sky. We gotta stop those. We gotta do better. Like, I rather just like it be a bunch of aliens and he has to attack them in
I also hated Metamorpho. That was dumb.
Metamorpho?
And that stupid baby.
Oh my god.
That fucking baby.
Erik.
I hated it. Stupid. I love the idea of that massive detainee prison that included ex-girlfriends that like said bad things.
That's total Trump move. Yeah.
You mean alligator Alcatraz?
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Conceptually, there was.
I like the idea of the character having, the minerals and the recreating kryptonite because they've got rid of it on the planet. I thought that was like a cool thing to do. But
why did Anthony Kerrigan choose that voice?
You mean his regular voice?
I was going to say, he just sounded
because as soon as he starts talking, I'm like, that voice should not be coming out of
That's the guy from Barry.
Preacher.
That's very funny.
He should have talked he should have had a different voice. Like
something.
Robert Pattinson would have given it a great voice. Just going to put that out there.
It was jarring. It was awful. I did not like it. I didn't like it.
That's like when Ben Mendelsohn does voice work.
That baby, though. That was dumb.
In the Marvel. Griffin, when Ben Mendelsohn's like one of the Kroll or the Krill or whatever they are in the
the Skrull,
the Skrulls or whatever they are, and it just sounds like Ben Mendelsohn. You're like,
exactly,
and you're like, you should have a voice. Like when were choices not given to you? Like just do whatever you want. Like Willem Dafoe would have made a choice.
Mendelsohn has a great voice. That lisp that he has is really kind of awesome.
But like, come on, you're in all makeup. Like, just fucking make a choice, damn it.
Normally I'd be like, I would traditionally agree with you. It didn't really.
Oh, so you're not
me.
You guys aren't pro-choice. All right, okay, that's fine.
Well, maybe that was pro-choice, and that was
that's fair. Maybe and who knows?
It's pretty pro-choice. They use saving that baby like at all costs.
Oh my god!
Down that
which didn't make any sense.
Minecraft pixels or whatever.
Well, that was the thing too. Is as that was going on, I was like, shouldn't this he was saying up there that like if they went down what's this, Mr. Terrific? If they went down into that, they would have like died in like a matter of seconds. He's like inside. Yes. All of them are inside of that thing.
I'm like, what is happening here? What is again, no stakes, because we established that it's one thing, and then we get to cheat the rules of it, and he's holding a baby above a foot above this river, which is, let's just call it lava. It's basically lava.
It looked like something out of Minecraft. Is what it
that's what I just said. It's Minecraft pixels. Yeah. It's stupid. It's Inside Out. It's no.
Can we mention one thing that we haven't talked about at all? And it's kind of crazy that we haven't mentioned. Maybe the thing that people are going to take away from this movie the most, at least kids will and families.
The dog. We have not talked about the dog.
We haven't talked about Crypto.
Yeah,
that's because dogs drool.
I think Crypto's kind of great in this movie.
Yeah, Crypto is great.
He's kind of a dick, and I like it. I liked him in this movie. Every time he was there, he was giving Superman kind of shit, and it was great. And
he's very good comic relief.
Very good comic relief.
Yeah,
it's very Groot-esque in a way for sure, but it's done. It's not done like over the top. It's just like it's giving you the right amount of him throughout this movie. And man, James Gunn likes to torture animals more than anybody on the planet, it seems like. And because of Guardians 3 and now this, because
it made he's not really tortured.
Well, I mean,
he's not.
He's literally says he's going to kill him, but okay.
So what? That doesn't. But he doesn't. He doesn't.
He puts him under like hypnosis. Like you don't want to do that. What if I put your cat under hypnosis? What would you do there? You'd be fucking
pissed. Cats would not suffer fools like that. Are you kidding me? That's why you could never have a cat sidekick, because they'd be like, fuck this
guy. No, but I just thought that James Gunn made me buy into a CGI dog better than most CGI characters. And
so you bought the cryptocurrency, is what you're saying?
Correct. I did. Yeah. I would buy this crypto. That's for sure. Oh yeah, big time, baby. Bye. No, I just thought it was great, and I thought Corenswet played impeccable off of this non-existent dog.
I mean, it makes him more relatable. I think that was the big reason he was in there. It was like, oh, okay. It's like
he's great as a goof. Like I thought when he was like as Clark trying to get into work and stuff. I just wish there again. I think there was a little bit. I wish there was a little bit more of that.
That's fair.
But no, and I do think the conversation, the interview scene between him and Lois,
I like that a lot.
I wish there was I wish it was like longer. I wish there was like a follow-up interview.
I didn't need it to be longer, but I liked it. It was good.
I would have liked if the follow-up wasn't like, oh, they're kissing and Perry goes, Wendell Pierce completely wasted in this movie. Like straight up, like
completely.
How long they been fucking? Essentially.
Beck Bennett had more lines.
But I wish, which he was terrible in this movie. Beck Bennett, horrible. But he was a very I didn't understand what his character was doing in the first like what are you being a dick about? Like,
well, he's
reason. It seems like it's just a massive piece of shit. But anyway, but I would have loved if the movie kind of ended with a follow-up interview and wrapping that up within him with the robots and seeing his parents, and then really then kind of sticking that landing home.
Yeah,
it's strange. It's strange that we get two throwaway lines, like absolutely like throwaway lines that speak to hypno glasses.
Yeah,
as the reason why people can't tell that,
but we never see it.
That they're different people, or that they're not the same person. And then I think Brosnahan, like on the top of the building, running into the little spaceship, has that one mention of multiverses, and they're absolute throwaways. But it's also like,
but also too late.
But is this because we know what we know, so you don't need that much exposition? I don't know.
Are people stupid, by the way, at that paper and don't unlike where if this guy is the number one guy that's been interviewing Superman, why hasn't he been at his job for the last 2 weeks?
It's the same thing with Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Yeah, but but he's not on the staff. He's a freelancer.
Where's he been? Is he on vacation? Is he back home? Where has he been this whole time?
If Perry knows that he's late every day and notices that at the beginning of the film, you're not going to notice this giant fucking behemoth of a writer who only interviews glowing interviews of Superman. Like he didn't want to get he didn't get like suspended or do anything bad at work. Like there seems like a scene or two missing where it's like Clark blows up at work, they suspend him, and then the Superman stuff happens, like part of the spiral. And that's where a little bit of the attention to detail to Clark is missing, as opposed to the 100% focus on Superman.
Well, so the thing I've been holding on to that I actually wanted to bring up in regards to that is that was the same problem that people had with the Batman. The Batman was more about Batman and less about Bruce Wayne and his public persona and like the things that like people wanted to see that character in that universe. And one can assume that is going to be what Matt Reeves decides to explore in the Batman Part 2, which is the alter ego, which is Bruce, learning to be more than just like the
a millionaire behind the snes in Batman at Night. Yeah,
exactly right. So you can imagine that the sequel to this film will probably deal a little bit more with Clark. And because it's like now we've had the groundwork set for Superman. We understand who Superman is in this world, which I think was very important. And I think it was very clear that Gunn wanted to tell a story about Superman and not Clark Kent at this point in time. I mean, like, yes, Clark Kent and Superman are one, and Clark Kent is why Superman is good, but like, let's get people reacclimated with this character as he was intended to be, and then we can explore more of Clark Kent going forward. Because I agree, yeah, I would have liked to have seen more Clark Kent and more similar to how I would have liked to have seen more Bruce Wayne in the Batman. But
yeah,
I think given just
but Bruce doesn't have a job at a newspaper. He can be a broody fucking teenager that's
sure.
like, my parents died. I don't need to be in public unless I don't have to. He's a billionaire, for Christ's sake. He doesn't have to show up for every ribbon signing at a new hospital or something. You know what I mean? Like,
well, but I mean,
he doesn't have to. Like
in the Donner film,
he's got an excuse. You know what I mean?
I mean, sure. I mean, like in the Donner film, is Perry questioning why Clark isn't there, like left and right? Like,
that's Lois's job.
That's Lois's job.
Well,
and
but
should have established it here because, again, Griffin,
but that's what I mean. Nobody else is doing that because we already know that Lois knows there is nobody that is challenging Clark's persona.
And she talks about it. She says at a certain point, someone's going to look into this and they're going to ask the question as to why you are the only one that can talk to Superman and it's so glowing and it doesn't actually ask questions. And that's the thing is, they must all be hypnotized, or he must have left the glasses on the desk because everybody's fucking hypnotized and no one's asking any questions.
Right.
And that's
that's why my conspiracy theory is that Superman started this whole world war to avoid
going to work
to answer that question. So it wasn't really Lex Luthor; it was Superman.
He's actually Garfield. He just hates Mondays. Yeah,
you know what? That might be true. The other thing that I wanted to mention, because we were talking about the busyness of the world and feeling like he's trying to do a bit too much of world building and setting up for the universe instead of making this a standalone Superman film. I guess like for me, I feel like it manages to create an established world, but also maintain the focus on Superman. And I think that that's effective in the current state of, when you're talking about the current state of comic book movies in general, right? Like we are so used to these things just like existing and whatnot. We don't need to build from the ground up anymore. And so I think putting Superman in this universe already in progress and then just like telling a story about him and how his actions kind of cause like the other heroes around him to question what it is that they're doing is a nice subversion of what Superman traditionally does, which is start the Justice League, right? Like, so that we have the Justice Gang and they're out there and they're doing their thing and whatever. But they're not really being heroic. They don't really care about collateral damage or stuff like that. I think they're a corporate privatized superhero team, kind of like the Avengers, if you will, if we're talking in like the meta sense. And I think you have a Superman who comes in here and instead of being the morality police, which he traditionally is, I think in a lot of things when he's setting up the Justice League, he just sort of acts instinctually. And I think the way in which he carries himself and the way in which he acts causes someone like Mr. Terrific or Guy Gardner to maybe reflect on how they are acting as heroes. And so I think the Justice Gang is interesting because they're not just disciples of Superman or whatever. They become examples of, people trying to live and operate as heroes the same way that Superman does. And it's not because he told them to, it's just simply like seeing what he's doing. So I really appreciated that as a twist on how the Justice League is traditionally established, and I think it actually makes Superman it makes him more just like human of a character and less of a like authority figure, right? He's just like a guy doing stuff, and that inspires people.
Yeah. Anything else, Erik, you want to mention before we start wrapping this up? Are you excited about the future of this new universe that James Gunn has presented us here?
I would never use the word excited about any superhero multiverse.
Would you see more from
excited is not what
would you see more from Corenswet in this ensemble
I'd like to see a lot more of Corenswet.
Oh Jesus. Well, I mean
what?
Fair. He is a
exactly
good looking man. And they're having a lot of fun on that press tour about it.
I swear to God, the amount of pressure that is on every actor now to have a press tour that is all about being so super duper bestie best friends or wannabe fuck buddies. I swear to God.
So you're saying like
it's so crazy right now.
Well,
it's
I mean,
nuts.
You can blame like the All of Us Strangers press tour or the Wicked press tour for that.
Well, I don't know if I could blame those, but yeah, those
viral kind of
I blame Barbie.
Barbie too. Well, I think All of Us
Strangers have that.
I think All of Us Strangers because they put Paul and Andrew in everything, and everything was so sexualized. And then Wicked is touch my finger and cry. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So everything has to be.
I know, but it's a lot. It's just it's like a full-time job just doing.
Well, even like what was it like
crazy.
the Warfare one where they had all the boys and like Melton's kissing Kit Connor and
that's what I'm saying because they all have to do that. How well do you know your co-stars and all the
it's so
Vanity Fair and Vogue and all of these things and like now today we're gonna play with puppies and it's just like it's a lot. It's so much. It's too much.
It is.
It's too much.
A lot.
But also I want more. So what are you gonna
but also
do?
You can't stop watching all the videos.
But I do watch them all.
Yeah.
So no, I mean excited is just not the word I would use. I will watch it.
And we'll be back for more.
But yeah, maybe that's about it. Okay. I don't know.
Okay. Griffin, who do you? So they have the next thing is Clayface, right?
The next thing is actually
fucking names.
Well, I
can't deal with these names.
That's like Erik after waking up after and I didn't tell you.
They're Dick Tracy names.
Well,
got that Clayface over there.
It's comic book. I get it, but it's just like
no, it's funny.
Clayface.
The next thing is
the Lanterns.
They've got Peacemaker. They've got Lanterns. The next movie is Supergirl.
Supergirl. That's right. Okay.
And which I love.
But Mike Flanagan's doing.
I don't know if I'm a huge fan of the casting.
Who is that?
Millie Alcock?
Admiral Akbar?
Wow,
who?
Millie Bobby Bibcock.
I don't know. What else has she? What else has she been in?
She was in House of the Dragon.
Yes.
Okay. What else?
Yeah, and she's in Sirens, the Julianne Moore limited series on Netflix.
I've not seen either one.
She's actually kind of good in that.
I have not.
She
seen
was
excellent.
I mean, like she was excellent in that first season of House of the Dragon. And she was only in it for half a season, and it was like fuck. That's all everyone could talk about.
I got to give it a shot. I haven't seen it.
I like House of the Dragon.
I don't.
It's not good.
Did you, Erik? Did you never like it, or did you? No.
Wow,
I stopped watching it
after the first season.
Damn.
I didn't even make it through the first season. I don't think. I was like, no, I don't need this.
Wow.
I don't need it.
Well, but they are doing. Mike Flanagan's doing a Clayface.
Oh yeah, well the Clayface. Yeah, he's writing Clayface. He's not directing Clayface, but he wrote the script.
Somebody else wrote Clayface.
Is that really what it's going to be called?
It's going to be called Clayface. That's the character. Yeah, Clayface. And then they're doing a Batman movie in the Gunn Corenswet universe. Yes.
Well, we'll see. I mean, allegedly, yes, but we'll see.
That's
fold in.
That's not the Matt Reeves one. That's its own thing.
There's no goddamn way. We need to squash this here now. He's doing Batman Bold and the Beautiful or whatever the fuck.
Brave and the Bold. Yeah.
And that's it. I kid you not, Erik. I was not far off. That's going to be his Batman. Whoever does that, they're not going to incorporate Pattinson's Batman into this world.
I could see it working
because they would have already said that.
Fold in. No, I don't know about
with
that.
With the Penguin and everything, they would have already said that.
No, I don't know. I think it's a matter. I think they need to see how this movie. They needed to see how this movie does, how it was received, and then
But why can't Reeves have his own thing and then they have another Batman?
Will.
They'll both make $1 billion. Won't
well,
they?
I mean, but then you run the risk of Batmaning people out and then people getting confused on
nobody's Batman out on people love Batman.
I know. I'm just saying, like, I think for normal people, they're like, oh, is this going to be like is this the one with David Corenswet Superman, or is this some other sort of thing? I as much as I want the Reeves stuff to be its own little pocket thing, because I really just love that for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I really do think it could work. Like, having seen this film, I think there is a reality in which it could work with this Superman. They both embrace the comic book roots of their respective characters. Like, I think the Batman is like way more inspired by Adam West's Batman than like people give it credit for. So there's like there's like heightened elements of
okay, wait, let's back up that just for a second, because I need a little more on that.
Oh no, I think the way
on the Adam West thing,
the way that Pattinson kind of like approaches the character is very like there's like mannerisms that he does that kind of reminded me of Adam West. I also think the heightened reality that the character exists in is more reminiscent of like the reality of the Adam West Batman.
Don't worry, Eric. The groovy dances come in the sequel.
Yeah, right. Well, like even like the costume wise, like Matt Reeves spoke about drawing from the West designs and stuff like that. Like it's like he does his own thing. He did.
It's a gray leotard. Well, I don't know.
Like
I don't
specifically the cowl with the eyebrows and stuff. Like
Eric wears the Adam West outfit to bed every night. That's his.
I loved Batman and Robin, that show. That was a great. I loved that. As a
Batman and Robin too. That was a good movie.
Yeah, where's Robin?
Well, that's the thing. In the Brave and the Bold is where you're going to have.
They need
Robin
to change that name.
Yeah, it's too bold and the beautiful.
It will not be. It will not be called that. I guarantee.
Just like this is more than I have ever talked about superhero movies in my entire.
I was going to ask you about that as to why you were so enthusiastic about jumping on one of these things.
Well, only because I had just seen it, and I'm like, all right, I have thoughts. Of course, I have.
And now he will never talk about Superman or any other superhero movie for the next 15 years. He will never jump back.
I don't know. Maybe.
I think that
he likes this.
I think both.
I liked it. It's fine.
I think both of them will exist in their own way. I think they should, because I think
that's dumb.
I don't think making money is dumb. I think that you can have that Batman, whoever it's going to be, Hero Army.
But then he will constantly be living in the shadow of Robert Pattinson. That is the thing.
But if we live in a world of multiverses and all that stupid bullshit, why can't there just be multiples? Why can't there be both Batmans in the same movie? That's what I'm saying.
We can have. No, I'm saying is that you can
there's no rules. Multiverse has no fucking rules.
Yeah, I think
you can do whatever you want. That's why I hate them so much.
Because I think that this Batman that you're going to get is for a long-term franchise for the next 10, 15 years. And I do not think Robert Pattinson wants to sign up for that. And I think he signed up for a trilogy with like Christian Bale. And he signed up for that. And that's what Reeves has all originally pitched anyway. So I think that that's as far as he'll go. And it would be better because then you can have a Batman to counter with Corenswet in that shared universe and have somebody do it within that vein of what Gunn wants and do it in such a way that connects then to that creation of the Justice League. Because I do not believe Robert Pattinson wants to be doing that the rest of his life. I mean, he's barely going to want to do these two sequels as it is. So
I don't know. He likes playing. I think he likes playing Batman.
I don't think he would do it for anyone other than Matt Reeves, and I do not think Matt Reeves is interested in connecting to a multiverse.
Maybe so. I don't know. I could. All I'm saying is that like taking all that out of it, I think there's a way for it to work, and it would be interesting if they folded it in. But
I think it'd be a terrible idea.
Yeah, I also don't think it's like. I also don't know if it's something I need to see. But
yeah, I just
need if they decide to go that way.
I just need to see this stand alone on its own and be grounded, and then the comic booky, over the top, silly stuff for Batman can be in Gunn's universe. That's where you can have your Adam West shit for all I care. Or a Batman animated television show.
I do think that the Reeves Batman is very like Batman the Animated Series.
It's also very Zodiac. So like, you know,
they're dealing with the Riddler as like a serial killer, but like
there's not a character that's even remotely that serious in this movie. It would feel tonally inconsistent if they all connected. So, but anywho.
But Batman is never. I never mind. All I was just gonna say is that like I could debate this all day long. But yeah,
they'll have 2 Batmans. Don't worry, you can book it.
Probably will.
You can book it. Griffin, thank you for coming on and doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Can you tell everybody where they can find you and all your work on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram at Griff Schiller. You can check out the Film Speak channel, which is my YouTube channel, where I go in depth on movies and television and stuff like that. I will definitely have a video out on Superman, so you can check the channel out and see that. I've got some Jurassic videos that I'm still wrapping up, and so a lot of good stuff coming out on the channel that I'm proud of. So.
Right. Go check that stuff out. Erik.
What? Oh,
yeah.
Where can you find me?
Yeah.
At AwardsWatch.com and on socials at AwardsWatch, except for Twitter, which is just at @awards_watch. Sign up for the newsletter. Have some fun.
There you go. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Blue Sky at Ryan McQuade 77. If you like podcasts, we have the Director Watch podcast going on right now. We're in the middle of a Paul Verhoeven movie series, and the newest episode this week might be one of the best episodes we've ever done so far. We are talking about Showgirls, and none other than Erik Anderson is on that episode with us. And I can tell you right now, it's a lot, and it is glorious, and it might have the moment that got Jay Ledbetter fired from Awards Watch on it. You'll have to.
But also,
but he's not fired, but he could be.
Listen carefully, and you tell me how many drinks I've had at the 30-minute, 1 hour, 90-minute, and 2 hour mark of the podcast.
And the 2.5 hour and the 3 hour and the 4 hour. It's a long one, but it was a lot of fun to talk about a truly
best.
Insane film. So much fun. iTunes, Spotify, 5-star reviews, greatly appreciated. While you're over on the website, like Erik said, please sign up for the newsletter. He tries, folks. He puts it out a couple of times a week. It's the best place to get all our news, reviews, interviews, and Emmy stuff that'll be coming up this week as well. And that's all at awardswatch.com. Next week, we will be back. We are doing an Oscar retrospective episode over the film year of 1975, one of the great Oscar lineups of all time, and we are going to be talking about that, doing an old-fashioned Awards Watch Oscar retrospective. I'm super excited about that. Thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you all next time.